Okay, so the news of the last hour is the question surrounding AJ Haulcy and his ejection in Clemson in Houston's season finale last year. I have spent the last 25 minutes diving into this as quickly as I possibly can, learning as much as I possibly can, and I will tell you now what I know. What I can tell you for certain is that AJ Haulcy was ejected in Clemson again, in Houston's season finale last year. They played BYU. There were just under 3 minutes to go in the game. The quarterback for BYU ran a touchdown in, and after that run, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see some of this on the ESPN cut. He runs in from the 7-yard line, and the camera is showing the BYU quarterback celebrating, and a bit of a scuffle breaks out in the back of the end zone. By the time the camera cuts to AJ Haulcy and some of the other players involved in that extracurricular, Haulcy is being held back, so he's clearly been in the middle of this in some way, helmet on, and flags have been thrown. He was ejected from this game with 2 minutes and 52 seconds to go with BYU. Now, the box score that I pulled up officially from the Houston site, I went to the game book, which is given to all of us in the press box, and then it's uploaded up onto the schedule page for every team and every game they play. The box score says the foul is for unsportsmanlike conduct. It does not say in the box score that I am reading fighting. Those are two distinctly different things. Let me read you from the NCAA 2025 rulebook. This is for unsportsmanlike conduct. It is Section 2, Article 1, and you got to go down to J. It says dead ball contact fouls such as pushing, shoving, striking, etc. that occur clearly after the ball is dead and are not part of the game action. And it does say earlier in this that you can be ejected if the official suggests that it is meriting of an ejection. Nowhere in unsportsmanlike conduct is a suspension mentioned in the rule book that I have seen. So you can be ejected for unsportsmanlike conduct. It appears from the rule book that I'm reading that does not carry a suspension. Now, fighting, this is very clear. Section 5, and then you go down to Article 1, and then you go to B. It says, during the second half, players shall not participate in a fight, obviously. It says the penalty for that is 15 yards for dead ball fouls, 15 yards from the succeeding spot, automatic first down for Team B, if not in conflict with other rules, ejection for the remainder of the game and the first half of the next game. For fighting in the last game of a season, those with remaining eligibility shall serve suspensions during the first game of the next season for which they are eligible. That's part of the penalty clause in fighting. In unsportsmanlike conduct, in the penalty clause, it says ejection. It has no clause for suspension. So that distinction, to me, very clearly spells what this is or what this isn't. As I read this off the internet, now I was not there in Provo for this game, and I don't know if there could be an error here. They're going to have to go back and look at this. But if AJ Haulcy was ejected for unsportsmanlike conduct, which it says in the box score, he is eligible in the first half on Saturday. If AJ Haulcy was ejected for fighting, despite the fact that it was last season and it was for another team, very clearly in the rule book, he is suspended for the first half on Saturday. Now, if you're asking me what I think the result of this is going to be, I believe, based on the box score, he's going to be able to play. But I will tell you this. This is news to people in the Southeast. LSU, the Southeastern Conference, this was brought to their attention recently. So there's discussions being had. Brian Kelly meets with the media after practice today. He's got his press conference on Thursday evening, and he'll have his coach's show. He will talk about this today, I am confident. I cannot give you an official ruling from the NCAA. All I can do is read the information that is given to me, the rule book and the box score from last year. I've seen the play. It's not egregious and from what I've seen, but I can't see what actually happened to trigger the event. The only tape that I have, and trust me, all I've gotten from this is I've looked at this for the last 25 minutes. It's all I've seen. By the time I can see, cooler heads have prevailed. They've held AJ Haulcy back. The BYU guys have been restrained. No benches cleared. No helmets were off. There are no injuries. There were just ejections, and AJ Haulcy was one of them. So that's what I can tell you from this point. I'm confident those that are in Clemson orange are looking at this saying he clearly got into a fight. He was fighting. He should be suspended. If you're in purple and gold, I'm quite confident you will say he didn't even do anything. He was playing for another team. This is unsportsmanlike conduct. Of course he can play. I'm just going to tell you what I know. I'm not going to tell you what I feel or what I think. I'll tell you what I know. The box score says unsportsmanlike conduct, and the rule book says unsportsmanlike conduct does not carry a suspension. That's what I know. Now, let's briefly talk about the impact this would have if he was suspended. If he's not suspended, he's a starting safety. He's a really good player. He's going to be out there playing. There's not really a conversation to be had. If he is suspended, this is a conversation we do have to have. Tamarcus Cooley, which, by the way, I'm told there's a situation with Cooley as well. I'm not abreast of that right now, and I'm on the air, so I can't go up and look it up. So if I find something out in a commercial break or something on Cooley, I'll talk about that. There may be a situation there. I can't speak to that right now, and I apologize. It's all too fresh. But I can tell you that if Cooley's in, he's a starter. And if you have to have Haulcy sit out, you've got basically three options. You've got Deshaun Spears, you've got Javian Toviano, and you've got Jarvin Gilbert. Gilbert was a starting safety for you last year, obviously. Didn't participate in the spring with a shoulder injury. He has, after starting with the safeties in camp, has moved down to the star position where he's backing up Harold Perkins. So he hasn't played safety now the last 3 weeks. He's played it his whole college career, so he can go back there and do it. But he hasn't done it the last 3 weeks. And I'm telling you that last week, if they were preparing for Clemson, you did not see Jarvin Gilbert playing safety. He would have been backing up at star because this is new information to LSU. Deshaun Spears and Javian Toviano have been back there playing safety. Here's what I think. I think that AJ Haulcy is LSU's best safety by a long shot. I think he is clearly the best safety on this roster. That has a little bit to do with fall camp, like a smidge, but mainly has to do with the fact that he's been a terror for 3 years. He was first team All Big 12 unanimously. Coaches, AP, Phil Steele, everybody that was giving out first team All Big 12, he got it last year. The year before that, he was the Big 12 newcomer of the year at safety. The year before that, he was unbelievable as a freshman playing safety for New Mexico, made 24 tackles in a game. I'm basing off the 3 years he's played that are significantly better than anybody else on this roster has played. And now I realize he hasn't been doing it in the SEC, but he is big, he is physical, he is fast, he makes a ton of tackles, he makes plays on the ball, was, I think, second in the Big 12 in interceptions last year. Like, he is the best safety by a country mile. If he can't play for the first half, you are compromised at safety. You are not as compromised as you would be this past year or years prior. You have depth. Deshaun Spears is a second-year player. Javian Toviano is a third-year player. Jordan Gilbert is a fourth-year player who has been a 3-year starter in the SEC. So you have some guys that have played. I just think you would take a step back. Do I think this is a big deal if he is suspended? If he's not, of course it's not. We just get on with our lives. We play the game. Do I think it's a big deal? I do. I think not having one of your best defensive players on the field at a position where you were awful last year is a big deal. You've got a veteran quarterback, stud wide receivers, a lot of ground to cover, a mobile quarterback. Like, this is a game that you need to have AJ Haulcy in at full speed. I think he probably leads LSU in tackles on Saturday if he plays the full game. Like, that's the kind of impact I think AJ Haulcy will have on this team this year. I just don't know what the first half holds. And at this point, right here, as I sit here at 1:10 on Thursday, less than 24 hours before they get on a plane, I don't think LSU's 100% sure what's going to happen. But again, you're healthy, you're deep, and you have been rotating safeties for a month. Now, that rotation at the starting spot has stopped the last 2 weeks. It's been Cooley and Haulcy for 2 weeks. But the other guys have gotten a lot of reps. So they do have a little bit of time. This wasn't sprung on them on Saturday morning, but it is, 48 hours to 52 hours or so before kickoff, and you have this pop up. This was brought to the attention of the NCAA outside of the SEC and LSU, and we'll see what comes of it. I wish I could give you black and white facts of the outcome here. All I can give you are the nuts and bolts of this from the rule book and what I see in the box score. Right now, I feel like AJ Haulcy is going to be able to play in the first half based on what I'm reading. But I can see if they go back and check and they do determine it was actually fighting, then he's going to have to miss the first half. That's cut and dried. It's right in the rule book. So I think he's going to be okay. It is going to be something to monitor. It will be a story. And to me, this is something that can be absolutely 100% ironed out in the course of 2.5 hours. If somebody's at the gym or taking a nap that was involved in the game in Provo and can't answer their phone in the first hour, okay. But you ought to be able to get the official, the conferences, everybody on the horn in the course of 2 hours and determine what he was ejected for. And once you figure that out, and I don't need you to go figure out what he should be ejected for. I need to know what he was ejected for that very moment. And once you get to the root of that, whether that's the official, whether that's the Big 12, whoever has that information needs to bring it forth, and that's the end of it. There shouldn't be an appeal. The rule is clear. This was either a fighting ejection or an unsportsmanlike conduct ejection. I don't need to know whether or not it was warranted. I just need to know what happened. And once you have that, this shouldn't drag on. So I can't, to me, if this came to everyone's attention at somewhere just beyond noon on Thursday, by the time Brian Kelly meets with the media this evening, this should be ironed out. I don't see where there should be a lot of gray area here. But, I can't give you the result. So it's certainly worth monitoring, and we'll let you know if we hear anything over the course of the next 2 hours. Maybe Matt has something because he doesn't finish for another 5. We'll see. But we'll keep you posted as best we can tell. I'm going to dive into the Tamarcus Cooley stuff over the course of the show and see if I can figure something out on that front. But the Haulcy thing is first and foremost here. So we got that information to you. We'll have a story up at LouisianaSports.net here very, very shortly. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.